Have you ever stopped to think about the change rattling around in your pocket? The quarter, the dime, the penny, and the nickel. One of these things is not like the others. In fact, one of these is a money-losing machine, a relic of a bygone era that's costing us all a fortune. Today, we're going to unravel the fascinating and frankly bizarre story of the US nickel, and I'll make a case that will have you saying, "Death to the nickel." The story of the nickel begins not with nickel at all, but with silver. Back in 1792, at the very first US mint, the 5-cent piece was born. But it was a different beast back then, a half dime made mostly of silver. It was a respectable coin for a respectable time, but two powerful forces were conspiring against our little half dime: rising silver prices and the relentless march of inflation. By the time of the Civil War, the value of the silver in the coin was greater than 5 cents. People did the logical thing. They melted them down and sold the silver for a profit. The government had to act. Their solution? Ditch the valuable silver and switch to a much cheaper metal, nickel. And so, the nickel as we know it was born. Problem solved, right? Well, for a while. My grandfather used to tell me stories about the Great Nickel Melt of the 1970s. He and his buddies would go to the bank, get rolls of nickels, and spend their weekends sorting out the older, pure nickel ones. They'd melt them down and sell the metal to industrial suppliers. It was a little side hustle, you know? A way to make a few extra bucks. It's funny to think about now, a coin being worth more for its metal than for what it could buy. And that's the crux of the problem. History is repeating itself. Today, the metal in a nickel is worth more than 5 cents. And that's not even the whole story. When you factor in the cost of running the mint, the machines, the labor, the electricity, it costs a whopping 14 cents to produce a single 5-cent nickel. The government makes about 1.5 billion of these a year. You do the math. That's a loss of over $135 million annually. We are literally losing money by making money. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's just a nickel. Who cares? But it's not just about the money. The nickel has failed at its one and only job, being useful. Remember the Nickelodeon? The movie theater where admission was just 1 nickel? Those days are long gone. Today, a nickel buys you, well, nothing. Vending machines spit them out. You can't use them for parking meters. Their only purpose is to make exact change. And let's be honest, the time you spend fumbling for a nickel in your pocket is probably worth more than the nickel itself. This isn't some radical new idea. America has a history of ditching coins that have outlived their usefulness. Remember the half cent? Of course you don't. It was discontinued in 1857 because it was worth too little. And get this, when the half cent was retired, it had more buying power than a dime does today. We've also said goodbye to the trime, a 3-cent coin that was created to solve a specific problem and then gracefully retired. If we could do it then, we can do it now. So, what's the solution? It's simple. We get rid of the nickel. Transactions would be rounded to the nearest 10 cents. It would simplify our lives, save time, and save the country over $135 million a year. But why stop there? Let's think bigger. The dime is on the same path as the nickel, its value slowly eroding away. What if we got ahead of the curve and ditched the dime too? The quarter is the workhorse of our coinage system. It's the most useful, the most cost-effective to produce, and it's uniquely American. What if we built our change system around it? All transactions would be rounded to the nearest 25 cents. It would be simple, efficient, and would finally bring our coinage into the 21st century. The lesson here is that we shouldn't be afraid to let go of things that no longer serve us, whether it's a bad habit, a toxic relationship, or a coin that's costing us more than it's worth. The nickel has had a good run, but its time is up. It's time to say goodbye to the nickel and embrace a smarter, more efficient future. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video interesting, be sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the weird and wonderful world of, well, everything.